Exclusive. More relatives of Fulton County Jail inmates have come forward about what's being called a pay for protection scheme needed to keep their incarcerated sons and husbands safe.
One mother says she was on the phone with her son when she could hear other inmates threatening and assaulting him. Fox 5's Morse Diggs has looked into the troubling activity tied to the Fulton Jail commissary.
So imagine being a parent and you have the fear and the feeling that you can't control anything going on the inside. This pay for protection scheme that we're hearing about, it is linked to the commissary, the store for inmates inside. Funds flow through that on what they call the inmate account. You are looking at some of the homemade weapons called shanks that violent inmates use to keep their brand of order inside the Fulton County Jail. The target of illegal activity stems from the inside the jail bank or inmate account system. With those funds, the inmate or family members can purchase items from the jail commissary, everything from food to toiletries and other items.
You have to pay for protection inside.
That's a mother of an inmate who told me it became apparent her son would be in danger after an incident that took place on the third day of his incarceration.
Literally beaten while I was on the phone with him having a conversation. You could hear the gang member telling my son that they're going to shank him. Sir, I was hysterical. I was calling down to the jailhouse.
8 gang members, she believes, took part in that assault.
My son explained to me that his face was swollen. He could barely open his eyes. He could barely even talk to me.
And ever since, the son asked for money, often directing it be sent to other inmate accounts.
It was about his commissaries and stuff. And we cashed at him some money.
Do you have any idea how much money over the period of weeks and months?
Yes, we've cashed up over close to $9,000. His grandmother has been helping me give him money, and she's on a one-income base.
You feel like you don't have a choice.
My son will be beaten. He will be hurt.
What about a family attorney? Can the attorney go inside and intervene? Well, this mom I talked to today says her attorney has communicated to her there's not a whole lot he can do, that's the way things happen inside a jail. From the Fulton County Jail, I'm Morse Diggs, Fox 5 News.
Arrest of a man named in a sweeping racketeering conspiracy indictment that led to the arrest of rapper Young Thug. Only Channel 2 Action News talked to the rapper's former road manager before he surrendered, and he talked exclusively with Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark.
Began in 2017. Monday night, Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug's attorney Brian Steele, told us something along the lines of, Mr. Williams committed no crime whatsoever. We have not been able to reach him about what we have learned now, but it appears Young Thug's legal problems are not limited to the case in Fulton County that has made such big news this week.
I'm a real citizen. I got kids and everything. I don't need nobody saying you going to jail about nothing.
It appears the Fulton County RICO conspiracy case that broke this week against music stars Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug, and Sergio Kitchens, a.k.a. Gunna, lawyers for both have suggested they're innocent, is not the first time the pair has been linked in a criminal case, and that these images relate to a DeKalb County case dating back to 2017 in a vehicle stop by Brookhaven Police near Peachtree DeKalb Airport, also involving a third suspect.
I'm supposed to perform with Emmett Valley.
Documents indicate Williams, Kitchens, and the third suspect were indicted in DeKalb in 2018.
You got dope, you got money, you got guns. Trifecta, okay?
That Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug's charges included possession of methamphetamine with intent to distribute, possession of hydrocodone with intent to distribute, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of amphetamine, possession of alprazolam, 2 counts of possession of codeine, and 1 count of possession of firearm during commission of a felony. We found this photo in court records. There's a not guilty plea. Records indicate Kitchens was accused of a window tint violation to which he pled guilty and received a fine and probation suspended upon full payment of fine and surcharges, and a possession of marijuana less than an ounce charge, which was nalprost. The DeKalb DA's office has indicated that Kitchens in this case is indeed Gunna. A transcript suggests 3 officers then with Brookhaven Police testified in a hearing that one of them indicated he told another officer that when I made contact with the car that I smelled raw green marijuana coming from inside the car, and that I was going to remove all 3 passengers and conduct a probable cause search of the car. And that the third suspect, not Young Thug or Gunna, was claiming everything I pulled out of the car. A document indicates that a cab judge ruled, quote, the prosecution failed to present credible evidence that this vehicle was violating the law when stopped, unquote, and that evidence including statements, firearms, and supposed drugs must be suppressed. But a Georgia Court of Appeals opinion indicates the state appealed and the appeals court reversed.
George, this investigation has been going on for months, and take a look at this. This is that 88-page indictment, 56 charges ranging from murder, armed robbery, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Of course, those two rap superstars, the headliners on this indictment. But the top prosecutor here in Fulton County says this indictment will help get gang members off the street who she says are responsible for 80% of the violence we see in metro Atlanta. Hip-hop superstar and Atlanta native Young Thug making an appearance in a Fulton County courtroom Tuesday. His first appearance in front of a judge comes less than 24 hours after authorities raided the rapper's Buckhead home. Channel 2 was the only station there Monday as investigators arrested the 30-year-old. Young Thug, whose real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams, is one of 28 defendants charged in a sweeping 56-count indictment against the criminal street gang Young Slime Life, also known as YSL. The charges ranging from conspiracy to violate the Georgia criminal racketing law, murder, armed robbery, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, also named Sergio Kitchens, who performs under the name Gunna. As of Tuesday afternoon, the rap star had not yet surrendered to authorities.
My number one focus is targeting gangs, and there's a reason for that. They are committing conservatively 75 to 80% of all of the violent crime that we are seeing within our community.
According to 12 in the Cleveland Avenue area of Atlanta, prosecutors say Young Thug is a co-founder, and he and his affiliates have played a role in some of the city's most violent crimes.
Me and the mayor and the police chief have talked about the fact that Cleveland in our community is referred to as Bleveland.
Carlton Winfrey, he's serving a 20-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to firing shots at rapper Lil Wayne's tour buses as they traveled on I-285 in April of 2015.
Once the buses passed into a new jurisdiction of Cobb County, the police had to leave them behind, and it was at this point that the white Camaro pulled up and let off. Now, allegedly at this point, that white Camaro turned off onto a different road. Pee-wee made a phone call to a phone number that was linked to Birdman and fled.
In this new civil court filing we obtained, the driver's attorney points to phone records showing Young Thug called Winfrey 8 times in the moments before the shooting. They also point to this jailhouse call between Winfrey and Birdman.
Time for you to come out here and get this money, don't you? Time for you to come out here and get this money, don't you? Well, my name, you done blessed. You done did everything you could do, bro. It's an eye-opener, bro. It's an eye-opener, bro. You know what I'm saying? While you're on that strictly business, man. Strictly business, man.
Belonging to rapper Lil Wayne pleaded guilty and accepted a 10-year prison sentence. He had until today to take a deal. Channel 2's Cobb County Bureau Chief Ross Cavett live outside the courthouse with why the DA's tough stance on gang cases may have persuaded the gunman to take the deal.
Man known on the streets as Pee-wee or Roscoe will spend 10 years in prison. The district attorney here in Cobb County believes the gang problem is getting out of control in Cobb and really the metro. We told you about a case last week in which his office asked the judge for a 350-year sentence in another gang case. So it's likely Jimmy Winfrey saw the writing on the wall.
I think it was best for the client to do this and avoid the massive risk if he would lose even on a single count in this case.
Manny Aurora believes his client, Jimmy Winfrey, could have beaten most of the 27 charges in the indictment. But the prosecutorial mood against gangs and gang members in Cobb County is tough.
Anytime you say the word gang and there's an African-American individual, you know, prejudices rear their ugly head, and that's just the reality of the way it is.
Winfrey will spend 10 years in prison for the April incident on I-285, where 2 buses belonging to the entourage for rapper Lil Wayne came under gunfire. Prosecutors say a simmering rap feud and gang tensions led to it. They believe they could pin Winfrey as the gunman. He was indicted on 27 counts, including a rarely, if ever, used charge that references domestic terrorism. The charges Winfrey pled to are gang-related counts. DA Vic Reynolds making no apology for his take-no-prisoners approach to gang charges.
If you come to Cobb County, you shoot at a bus. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but this gentleman shot at a bus over some beef that started in Atlanta. We're not going to tolerate that.
Either you can see the time of day on a 10-year sentence, or you're going to be serving 200, 300, 400 years, as the DA has professed publicly that he would ask on every single gang case.
Well, that domestic terrorism charge was one of those dropped in this particular plea deal. Winfrey faces unrelated charges in other jurisdictions, but again faces now a 10-year prison sentence in this case. We're live outside the courthouse. Ross Cavett, Channel 2 Action.
Considered a number of the predicate statements and for those reasons in the aggregate, I'm going to deny bond at this time. But Mr. Adams, Ms. Hornsby, and Mr. Steele, certainly if you should file any other additional motions or things change, I certainly will reconsider the court's position on bond. It is not lost on me that I have not given your client a bond, but you know, that is my decision based upon what I have heard, and I certainly appreciate your advocacy on behalf of your client. All
you know how we do.